Good morning, listeners. My name is Sarah Edward, and I am the spokesperson of the Southern African Students' Union, SASU, which is a regional body committed to defending the students' rights, academic freedom, and democratic values across Southern Africa. We have learned with great disappointment that on the 26th of February 2025, five students from the Midlands State University in Zimbabwe, who serve as leaders of the Zimbabwe National Students' Union ZINASU, have been unjustly suspended without a hearing for wearing ZINASU t-shirts during a membership drive and for raising awareness among fellow students about the union. It is against this background that the Southern African Students' Union, SASU, strongly condemns the suspension of ZINASU members at Midlands State University without clear reasons or due process. This blatant disregard for justice and student rights is unacceptable in any democratic society. We believe that universities should be spaces of academic freedom, debate, and student activism, not institutions of repression. The arbitrary suspensions without hearings violate not only basic principles of natural justice, but also regional and international standards on the right to education and freedom of expression. Student leaders must be afforded the opportunity to defend themselves, and denying them this right creates an environment of repression and injustice. This is an act of oppression targeted against those that are at the forefront of advocating for student rights and academic freedoms. This suspension lacks transparency and fairness, which are essential pillars of justice in any disciplinary actions. Universities must uphold their own regulations and ensure that disciplinary measures are not used as political tools to silence dissent. Any deviation from this due process erodes trust in academic institutions and threatens the democratic values that students and young leaders seek to uphold. It is most revolting that the Midlands State University has clear policies regarding student suspensions, yet in this case, they are completely disregarded. They clearly state in their regulations that the reason for suspension must be based on a clear defined misconduct or violation. Secondly, the procedures for disciplinary action must be followed, ensuring investigations are fair and transparent. Thirdly, that a hearing must be conducted, ensuring that they can defend themselves before any action is taken. And lastly, that an appeal process must be available to challenge any unjust decision. However, the students were not given the opportunity to benefit from any of these regulations. By ignoring its own policies, Midlands State University has undermined its own credibility and violated fundamental principles of justice. Universities should be spaces of learning and academic freedom, not institutions of repression, and the Midlands State University is no exception to this. SASU stands in unwavering solidarity with the affected student leaders and the broader student movement in Zimbabwe. We reject any attempts to weaken student governance, silence critical voices, or suppress activism. A society that stifles its young leaders undermines its own future. Our demands as a Southern African Students' Union are clear. We call for the immediate reinstatement of all suspended ZINASU student leaders at the Midlands State University. We demand for the protection of student unions from government interference and an end to all forms of political persecution against activists in Zimbabwe. We also call for the respect for academic freedom and students' rights across all Southern Africa. As SASU, we call for all students, trade unions, civil society organizations, and religious institutions to lobby, to mobilize, and stand in solidarity with the affected student leaders. We call on the university administration to immediately reinstate the affected students and respect their right to due process. Furthermore, we urge the Zimbabwean government to uphold its commitment to student freedoms and academic integrity. SASU stands in solidarity with ZINASU and all students fighting for their rights across the region. An injury to one is an injury to all. As SASU, we believe that at the core of academic freedom is the right to research, publish, and teach without government interference. Hence, the students in Zimbabwe shall not be condemned for exercising their academic freedom. By academic freedom, we understand the right to search for truth and to publish and teach what we hold to be true. As students of the Southern African region, we will not be condemned and we will not be silenced during our pursuit for academic freedom. The students of Zimbabwe shall be free.